Karura being sold or people being given permission to make development there, as long as we are there, is a dream. We will fight it the way Professor Wangari Maathai fought it.
Hey there and welcome to Fanya Mambo Africa. Today we are tackling a very, very big issue that is of concern to, I bet, every Kenyan, but more so for everyone who remembers Wangari Maathai in any way. It was for the saving of forests in Kenya. And we're not just talking about any other forest, we're talking about Karura Forest. And to discuss that with me, I have Professor Njoroge Karanja with me.
Yes,
Karibu
yes.
sana.
Asante sana.
I have been trying to understand, is it Friends of Karura or is it Friends of
It's
Karura?
Friends of Karura Community Forest Association.
Oh, that's usually the full.
The full name. But because Community Forest Association is everybody who is an association dealing with forest has to be a CFA. Okay? So for us, we are the Friends of Karura Community Forest Association. There are others who are Kijabi Community Forest Association. There is Jokini Community Forest Association. There are 257 forest stations in Kenya.
250?
257.
Okay.
Some don't have community forest associations. They are too late to establish them. The law is more than 15 years old in terms of implementation, and some are struggling. That is why I say, where does KFS get time to talk about a successful forest, rather than trying to bring the ones that are not there into birth?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for basic understanding, why are we having a conflict between Friends of Karura and Kenya Forest Service?
The conflict emanates from an existing agreement. And I want to take you to the genesis of the agreement that both parties signed and have renewed over time. I think we've renewed it. This is the third time, and with major changes because of the friendship, the camaraderie, the working relationship between us and Kenya Forest Service.
Okay.
They always held us in high esteem as perhaps if they were giving championships, we would have won a championship cup in terms of maintaining the forest in the manner that we planned it to be.
Okay.
Because each forest is different.
Yeah.
There are forests that can't attract ecotourism, and therefore they will focus on other things, maybe plantation forests, establishment of nurseries and so on, so that the community earns a living doing so. But ours was clearly from the beginning a center of attraction to the people of Nairobi. And we also saw it as a threatened forest. In fact, to be absolutely clear to our viewers, Karura Forest was a no-go zone and therefore not a forest. Even the Kenya Forest Service were asking us, what do you see in this forest? It's already grabbed. In other words, there were people with titles for it.
This is when?
Now we are talking about 2006.
Okay.
After Wangari Maathai fought for it, fought those developers, kicked them out of the forest. I can remember coming into the forest the day after they almost killed her. And in that anger, we went around that forest. Anybody who was building anything, we demolished. Any mechanical vehicle, bulldozer, we burned.
So they had started building?
Oh, yes. You see, Kenyans forget very quickly. It's a flash news. It makes the headlines. Then tomorrow, every Kenyan forgets what happened yesterday. But that's the story of Professor Wangari Maathai's relationship with Karura Forest. And shortly thereafter, she tried to establish linkages with embassies and the UN to make sure they kept the government on pause, not to do anything with that forest and not to let the forest go, because it's a very important landscape for the people of Nairobi. There are 4 rivers that traverse that small forest. There is River Ruaka, River Getadhuru, associated with you here, I think.
Yes,
and there is River Madare, and there is River Karura, Karura is actually named, Karura River is named after the Karura Forest that extended all the way up to Kibiku in Limuru and comes down to the place currently known as Gashie. All that were no villages. There was a total forest, and parts of Kiambu towards Nairobi. And it ended at where we are now, the GSU, near Thika Superhighway. That's where the forest ended. And when the colonialists came, they were interested in only 2 things: building a railway line to export cotton from the River Nile. So their first priority was to build a railway line from Fort Lawrence, which is now Kisumu, that would receive the cotton from Uganda and upstream in the Nile, and put it in the coaches in the train, and the train headed for Mombasa will then export them to Manchester to drive the cotton ginneries of Manchester. That was the sole reason why they were building the railway. But as they built the railway, they realized how fertile, how good, how climate-wise these parts were. And the then government or leadership of Britain thought, we will take it over. And they began by persuading people who were forest dwellers to leave forests. And those forests were turned into farms. And the first cash crop they really wanted, they wanted cotton.
Yeah.
But the first cash crop that caught fire very quickly was coffee, because someone brought a coffee plant and planted it at St. Austin's, Lavington. That was a forest. But the Catholic Church had built a little mission there. And it gave fruits that were very good, and it grew very fast. They were all very excited, so advertised, whoever wants to come to the colony and become a colonial farmer, we'll give them as much land as they can. And farmers started invading present-day Kenya. Okay. So the railway line was really to extract goods from us to Europe. What did it do to our environment? Our traditional way of dealing with forests was to regard it as life. I don't know whether you are a Kikuyu, but I will tell you, to them, even what they called forest is not what the average Kikuyu now will tell you. People will tell you mutito. It is not that. Mutito comes from the word msitu. So it's not a Kikuyu word. The Kikuyu word for forest is Gethaka. Now, Gethaka, which means the beautiful place where life lives, where life extends, where life begins. Gethaka. And the leadership of the Kikuyu were very concerned about Ithaka, because everybody had to have a Githaka to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because that's where you took the medicine from. That's where you got firewood to cook from. That's where you got your implements or whatever, even if you needed arrows, if you're a hunter, if you needed an implement to till the land, it came or chopped from wood in the forest. So Githaka was the bank of the people of that time. And Unfortunately, the white man was not interested in lowlands of the coastal area. Neither did they like the Kamba region either. But somewhere, as they entered the Kikuyu region, that's where they really, really wanted the land. So a lot of our people were turned into workers for white farmers.
The white, yes.
White farmers. And that extended into the Maasai community. And they did a very wrong thing by actually removing all the highlands Maasai. You see, now when we talk about Maasai people in Kenya, we see them in terms of grazing in the fields of grass. But Maasais were forest people. The Laikipia Maasais were actually very close to the lives of the Agikuyu. In fact, the intermarriage was huge at those times, and they lived in the forest, but they were forcefully moved from the north of the railway line to the south of the railway line, technically pushing them forever as grazers who migrate from one pasture land to another pasture land. Because really, for a Maasai, ownership of cattle and sheep and goats was profoundly the reason to survive as a human being. And so for them, they had large herds of animals. And it therefore meant, with the population now being pushed south of the railway line, that they would only concentrate on herding. The life of the forest disappeared in them, which was a crime, in my view. There are very few Maasais now who would feel comfortable buying land up in the highlands and live, because they think that that's not their culture.
Their way of life.
Their way of life. Up north, further north, they found a very courageous people, the Nandi people. And they did not want that snake going to the lake.
Yes.
The Nandi had an association with the lake, and they worked very closely with the people of the lake region. And if there was one community that fought the Mzungu for the first time, it was the Nandi. Because they stopped the building of the railway line for some time, not some time. Actually, history tells us for 6.5 months, nothing would move because of the power of one leader of the Nandi people, Koitalel. Yes. And I would like to appeal to the Nandis. Take your position again. Claim the space of making life better for every one of us, just like you are doing and your leaders those days were doing it. That is the way it should be. Let me finish by saying, in terms of introduction, that our forests began being mismanaged, not by us, but the colonial government were the greatest culprit of mismanagement.
So is it that then we have systems that have been taken from that?
Exactly. We never, unfortunately, in 1963, asked ourselves, why were these people doing this and why should we continue doing it? Why were they slashing down forests to plant trees we knew nothing about? The pine, the cypress, the eucalyptus, all trees that Professor Wangari Maathai called dead trees. Dead because if you plant a eucalyptus, it will never bear a young one.
Yeah.
It grows for you to cut it as a timber, but it has no child. Neither does a pine or a cypress. That is not a forest. A forest, like I told you, the Kikuyus believed the forest was life. It was where nature regenerated itself. We went and took our placentas when we have a baby in the forest, so the forest can protect the health of that baby. The connection between us and the forest was humongous and very deeply rooted in our culture. That culture was broken by the colonial government. So, how does our forest look like? If you ask our colleagues who are 20 years younger or 30 years and younger, they only talk about trees.
Yeah, because that's what
A forest is not a tree. A forest is an ecosystem that produces water. And I'll tell you in a little while how trees produce water for you. But it produces food. Most of our people lived as hunter-gatherers. And if you go into the forest, you will never go hungry. There will be berries, there will be fruit, there will be things you uproot and eat their roots. And if you're sick, you go there, you get healed. The forest was everything to the people. And if you wanted building material for your hut, you go to the forest. If you want to thatch your, everything came from the forest. That's how close it was. But let me go to the issue of life. What does a human being need in order to survive? One, air. Because without air, you won't actually last an hour.
Second, yes.
Minutes only, yeah?
Yeah.
And what do you need that air? What type of air do you want?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Where does oxygen come from? Oxygen comes from trees and shrubs and plants. They emit oxygen and they take up carbon.
CO2, yes.
They take up carbon. That's why we say they sequester carbon and they give us clean oxygen. Now, so the survival of a human being is based on this tree. That's number one. Number two, trees, when growing together, stabilize the earth. Their roots are what makes the earth movement at the top level a bit more difficult. Therefore, when floods come, they are less serious than when there are no trees.
Okay.
It is also so when major catastrophic droughts happen, the trees, whether they wither, still maintain the catchment, the water, the earth,
yeah,
because of their roots. And so they save one of the most important agents of food for humanity, and that's the soil. When you have removed trees, the soil is in danger. If there is a huge storm of water, that soil gets moved away by the running waters. And where does it go?
Downstream.
To the river, to streams, to big rivers, all the way to the ocean. Does the ocean need red soil? No. But no one tells us that these trees are the protectors of our soils. And soil is actually the means by which agriculturally we produce food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very good background you've given about trees and survival and the things we need for surviving. And even basically, if you look at it in Nairobi when there are floods, at least we are sure our soil is held.
Yeah.
But if we agree on all these basics about soil, why is it then we have KFS fighting with Friends of Karura? FK? Yes. Because then I want to imagine the base is the same. Like we are all on that agreement of this is the importance of this forest.
I would like to say two things. One, I could easily say, like most Kenyans, I don't know. Because sometimes I think I don't know, actually. Because I would think everybody would know that forestry cannot exist without a people who care for it. And if I want that way, then I would really want to work with the people to really care for the forest. That would be so that they love growing trees and they love keeping forest ecosystem intact without spoiling it. So I would really do more advocacy work rather than create rules and don'ts and punishment, this, punishment, the other. It is you enjoin yourself socially and culturally with the people, like I have just indicated. The people before knew these things.
Yes.
But our young people don't know because A, they are not being taught that, and B, when they watch a Kenya Forest staff operate, he's operating not from disseminating the value of a tree and the value of forestry. It is command and control. And to me, that's the danger of KFS. They want to command and control. Forest is not about command and control. It's nurture and defend. It is you nurture the forest to grow and you defend it with the community surrounding it. That is why the Kenya Forest Act was founded in 2005 by none other than Wangari Maathai as an assistant minister, Kalonzo Musyoka as minister, and Kulundu a little earlier also as a minister under Kibaki's regime. And they found that the only way we can return our forests back to where they ought to be is to create a legal system that enables communities to impact the management of forests. And we have done that in the last 15 years.
That's for Karura, that
For
is, and
Karura.
others.
And every other forest station, and there are 257 forest stations in Kenya.
Okay.
Each forest station should have a community forest association.
Do you think KFS feels you have failed at your job? Because
No.
for them to wake up and
The only reason they are coming to us is the money in the bank. It is not that we have failed. It's because we have been successful. They want to associate themselves with us, but unfortunately a bit more greedy. They also want to control the money that painstakingly we have worked for a long time.
Okay. Since you have a way of working together, I want to believe there's a document that is written on how KFS and FKF work together.
They have broken every rule of that document.
So does that document then speak about how to spend the money?
Yes.
Then what is the problem?
They want it.
All of it without
Yes.
your...
They're not leaving a cent. All of it is going to each citizen.
Were you engaged? Because personally, I went to Karura on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And the normal way we pay is usually the guys from, the message says Friends of Karura.
Yes, yes.
But now this Saturday when I went, it was e-citizen. So for me, it was a surprise because I'm like, okay, you changed. And they're like, yeah, now the government has decided everything must go to e-citizen. I was like, okay. And then I noticed the charges went high because usually I pay 300 because of the entrance fee of 100 and parking of 200. Now it came to 406, and he said there's the service charge of 50 e-citizen and there's the VAT.
I just want to tell you that as far as I know, government services are not charged VAT.
So how did they then sit and decide then we will pay VAT to access a forest?
You have to ask them. I don't know.
Was there any meeting between KFS and Friends of Karura before this decision was made?
We have always had, by law, by our agreement, a monthly joint forest management committee meets, and it goes through the plans that are in there for the forest, approves budgets, and discusses future programming.
Yeah.
Every month. Nothing like this had been brought to the table at the JMC, the Joint Management Committee.
So it was also a surprise for your team?
I was shaken when I had my phone ring at 5:55 in the morning by one of our gate clerks who called to say, oh, we are being pushed out. We cannot raise our manager. Can you try to reach him? We've been told to leave our office, our gate positions, and the KFS has taken over. At 5:55 or 5:56, I can check my phone, you'll see.
That's strange.
It is painful because KFS, there's nobody in KFS who has ever worked for a day without being paid. I have worked for 15 years for Karura Forest, and I've never taken home 100 shillings. And not me alone. I'm not saying that it's only me.
Yeah.
But all our board members, present and past, have sworn not to expect to be paid for anything, any work they do. We do it free as a pro bono work because if we do that, we have noticed in Kenya that everybody sees, oh, there's money flowing there. They will all want to get in there. We are a bit crazy Kenyans, eh? But we thought in our own thinking that we will employ people who are paid a good salary, but the board would never collect. The only money I could say that I have is the tea that I get when I go to the board meetings, or a lunch that is provided when something like that. Or we are traveling and a car is hired for me to go where I'm going to do whatever. But never a personal check as a payment for services given. That is difficult, and I'm not selling this to other CFAs. That's not what I'm. You obviously are not like us. Karura Forest sits in a very high class area.
Yeah.
Muthaiga on this side, and for Muthaiga we were represented by Sharad Rao, one of the prominent lawyers and civil servants of Kenya. And we have Runda, where I live, and we are presented by very able people. We have Ridgeways, we have all these communities, and we have very poor communities, like Huruma, North Mathare, and Githogoro. Very poor communities, people who live from day to day. And they too elect 2 members of the board, and they come to the board. And we tell them, look, if you come to the board, don't ask us for money. You come to the board and serve, but you can serve as an employee. So, for example, one board member is actually a group leader of one of the groups that do contract works for clearing and doing things and so on. So she's allowed to earn a living. But this has been a history of developing a relationship between a forest and a community, so that the community buys in, works in it, and sometimes we tell them, you must come to Karura, because if you don't, we don't get money.
Yeah.
And that has been very successful. We started with 323 or 325 guests 1 month, a whole month of February in 2010. And I remember we celebrated. Because even 300, at that time, 300 people came to the forest and paid to go in. We were very happy. And we charged them 100 for adults and 50 for children. Today, 15 years later, this is the 16th year, we were still paying 100 shillings. Because we don't need more money. We want to just protect this forest. So every shilling that comes goes to the protection and paying staff. And we don't need to be making money for somebody else. Let other forests also do the same, so that all our forest systems have a way of recouping money. Whether you are doing ecotourism like us, for us it's entirely ecotourism, and we are removing all other species that are based on selling wood or selling timber. But there are forests that will be only plantation forests. And they too should exercise their right when this timber is sold, that money is brought back so that forest can remain actively engaging the community and giving them jobs for the future. That is the way I would run Kenya Forest if I was given a chance. But right now, people with guns.
Yeah, because I saw people with guns on Saturday.
What are you, shooting birds or shooting who? In Karura, there are no thieves. We got rid of thieves. Thieves were there when Kenya Forest Service was looking after that forest. Murderers were there when the government, the department were looking after that forest. When we fenced that fence, 38, some some bones we were not able to tell whether it was one person or two people because we saw more bones but not a head, things like those.
Yeah.
But for sure, 18 people have been recovered. It's a very sad situation we went through. But what I'm saying here is that forest management must be selfless, because forests don't give you immediate kickback, immediate return.
Yeah.
It's a long-term investment, and you really have to have a staying power, a staying conviction that I want this tree that I've planted now to grow to maturity and give us cover, produce air for us, oxygen for us, and retain carbon as a carbon sink for all of us and our survival and global survival.
Yeah.
That's what we do. But it seems as if the Kenya Forest Service knows nothing more than just sitting there and waiting for trees to fall so they can hustle with a timber merchant and get money, or there is some opportunity for tourism and they cramp on us. Why can't they go to Gong Road and do what we are doing?
Okay, now that you've even mentioned about cutting down timber, just last year, we saw trees being cut in Karura.
Yes.
And of course, Friends of Karura was still in charge. Do you think then you opened a Pandora's box that now maybe you gave a chance? Because I remember the CS coming out to say it's a clearance of I don't know what he called the trees, to plant indigenous trees.
From the beginning, in 2010, we always went into the forest and cut 10 hectares of forests, remove them, and we were doing individual removal. We were not bringing tractors because then you kill the indigenous tree that may have been growing next to it.
Yeah.
So we selectively remove these logs of timber, and we ask KFS, because it's their material, to sell it. Now, sometimes KFS would make a tender, and the person who wins the tender comes and works with us so that we can remove it responsibly and they can cut it away. But the Uhuru Kenyatta government put a moratorium on these activities. And so when this regime came, and 2023, they started saying we have to cut. We didn't allow that until last year, in 2024.
Yeah.
But instead of taking the 10, they say now they'll take the 10 of 2024, the 10 of 2023, and the 10 of today, 2025.
So that's 30.
So so we were overwhelmed by that, because we have always done 10, 10, 10. But we know ultimately our goal is to remove them. Because when we remove them, we are replanting with indigenous trees, and that means nobody will ever touch that tree again. We are returning it back to pre-colonial time that I started this conversation with you.
Yes.
That is our goal. And I'm very proud of Duale, because when I explained to him what that meant, he actually came personally, and we planted some trees to prove we are replanting so that our people don't see it as whatever. However, I didn't go spreading things, I'm ashamed that these people have done, because people make mistakes. I didn't want to say that. But I knew that at our joint forest management meeting, we'll raise this issue and make sure that felling is not done in the method it was done this year.
Okay. Then do you think that the public, because it took the public outcry for an explanation to come out.
Yes.
So even now, it's those of us who experienced it on Saturday also were raising issues, because we're like, well, then why is there no communication?
Oh, we have done that. Oh, we have really gone out of the way. In fact, I issued the statement. I was woken up in the morning.
That was on Thursday, yes.
On Friday morning. It was Friday morning. And by 11, we were in the forest.
Yeah.
And there was even protests by our workers and so on. And we issued a statement from then on.
Okay. The other question would be, again, something I experienced on Saturday. On one of my routes, I saw the tarmac. I actually even took photos because I was shocked. Was Friends of Karura aware, or was this done between Friday and Saturday?
The tarmacking started on Wednesday or Tuesday last week. And when we got wind of it, we asked, and the station manager, a manager from KFS, didn't know about it, didn't know what to say. And we agreed that we better go and see the CCF.
Yeah.
So my chair, Justice Moniki, and the former chair, and I, Winnie Kiru and I, decided to go to see CCF. But before we get to CCF, we might as well see by our eyes what was now being reported.
Yeah.
And we went there, and you cannot believe it. There were about 10 rangers with rifles and whatever. And we said, why are you guarding this? We want to see this. They said no. They refused me even taking a photograph. So he said, I'm one of you. What is the problem? So we left them and we tried to see Lemakoko. We called him. My chair called him in my presence, and he said he can't see us. He's too busy. So from then on, we realized we are in a hard place. We need to work on another. And we went and saw a lawyer, because that's the only way you can see, because our management agreement specifically says that no party, KFS or FKF, can do things unilaterally, and that a joint forest management committee is set to meet regularly every month to plan and also to manage existing projects in the forest. This project of tarmacking has never been seen in the Joint Management Committee, never been discussed. What we have discussed over the years, not just one management plan, several management plans, that we are going to remove a village that exists in the forest and give these people a decent apartment in the main area of the Kenya Forest Service. And to be open to you, we have built 2 apartment blocks with 24 apartments, fully finished for that purpose. So in fact, it's KFS now to mobilize their own people to leave the Kijiji and go to the new apartment. They are built with Karura money, income money. Unfortunately, they have not been moved for whatever reason. And now they are building a tarmac. And if I heard him well on NTV, he said it's he wants to do good for even the junior staff not to walk in mud. And I'm saying to myself, oh, Kenya has a lot of money. How do you build a tarmac road just to allow people to walk on tarmac? There's inside a forest. I don't know what is happening in KFS. I don't know.
That's very interesting, because I have used that road so many times and it's always been graded.
Yes, and we
grade
our roads regularly because we have money for that. But we do not tarmac because tarmac creates runoffs. Yeah? Just like I said in Nairobi, you have concrete. When it rains, all our trenches are full of water because water is running fast on those tarmacs and concrete and so on. Yeah? And that water is rushing to the river, and the river is rushing that water to Mombasa.
Downstream.
So it does not put reserve in our underground water aquifers. Anybody doing that kind of a thing is denying us water in our underground water aquifers. I don't know whether you understand that.
Yeah.
If you need water for this house, for example, and you really cannot afford piped water from wherever, You can dig a borehole. But you dig a borehole and kunywa, hiyo maji imetoka wapi? Now, if you dig a borehole here in Mwemuto, you most likely are drinking Kereita and Aberdare water.
Okay.
Kwa sababu yenyu mmaliza hapa. Tunaelewana?
Yes.
So why are Kenyans not using science rather than emotions?
Okay, I would want to, in line with that, because this has been on the public domain for a while. I don't know if you've heard about it. Of course, they say Kiambu Road wants to be expanded. And I know the case went and Karura won, but there was discussion that maybe they want to get part of it for expansion somehow. There was also a rumor of a hotel being built. I don't know whether these are things you've heard, and if you've discussed them in your joint meetings.
No, nothing like that has ever been discussed in the joint meetings. We have no interest of building a hotel. When I was chairman, around 2013, there was an effort to give away 25 acres in Sigarial side for a hotel. But the owner was quite open. And he came and presented his papers. And we said no. Not because the papers were not good, it's a fantastic idea, but not forest land. Go buy from private land, wherever you can get it, and build, but not on public land, and not at the expense of oxygen, water, and livelihoods. No. We can do that.
Okay. So now that we are here and the chief conservator, the CFF, is saying they want people not to walk on mud, they want people to pay VAT. And of course, now there is your side, and there is us, the citizens, who just go and enjoy and, just walk and have a good time. So what next?
First of all, I just want to talk about VAT. It's by law. A government service cannot be VATed. It cannot be. You cannot pay VAT. You can go to hospital and when you pay for dawa in the hospital, a government hospital, and it's a government service, and you add VAT. Sini government anakupatia your service. Yeah. Now you pay, and you paid. I don't know how to explain it. It's so
I
it's
get
crazy.
Because I argued with the person who was charging.
You look at our laws, it's very clear. So already that's an abnormality. That's one. Second, no one has a right when you have made an agreement with a partner who have resuscitated a forest that was dead. Dead in the sense that even a forester could not walk a kilometer inside that forest without being robbed. It was a no-go zone. And everybody understands that who was born in those 15 years ago. You would know that Karura was not a safe place. We've turned that around, and our effort is to ensure that that continues, not that it ends and now we go back to those old days. The issue of Karura being sold or people being given permission to make development there, as long as we are there, is a dream. We will fight it the way Professor Wangari Maathai fought it. If they have to kill us, they will kill us, but we will fight for that piece of land. It is our land, it is our people's land, and it's for every citizen of Kenya to feel that they own that land. It is not for people to become wealthy. Nobody will make any move to move Karura away from the hands of the community. And I can say that with all due respect, the government is wrong on this. To continue insisting that they will do what they want, and even suggest for us that you can even add VAT on a person taking their aged mother to walk in the forest because of clean air ability to, me, I see these people every day and I say, how grateful can a community be if we are not able to see this in the case of Karura Forest? And then you come and you want even more from these people. When I was chairman in 2013, I created a project. When we started seeing now money is coming in and it's good, we created a project, a schools project. I realized that in schools, particularly primary schools, in the eastern part of this city, have never seen more than 10 trees at once. And they become teenagers without ever seeing a forest. So we made it clear to all the schools that you have an opportunity to tell us a day you want to bring children. We will pay for the bus, we will pay for their lunch, and we will pay for their teachers. And they will be taken on a walk in Karura Forest. That program has continued to date. We have been able to bring in 15,000 kids or more. I have not checked the latest. 15,000 kids formally with their teachers. And we sit them down, we teach them about the forest biodiversity, what they will see, what they can expect to see in a forest. A true forest is a place where you go and see butterflies and worms and various insects and mammals, small and big and whatever. And all that is part of the forest ecosystem. And I can tell you there are people who have now gone on to study in the secondary school and gone to university, and they have come to me, one particularly, a young man, who said, I followed this career because of you.
Wow.
How does that one feel? And there are many who may have been like him, but they have not found an opportunity to meet him. Yeah. So that is the way we go. That is the way Kenya Forest Service should be doing. The protector of Kenyan forests is not a guy with a gun. They have already killed about a few people innocently and so on. The protector of forests in Kenya is the average mwananchi. And that average mwananchi will be changed by young people and old people talking together about the essentials of a forest. And essentials of a forest is to keep it free from destruction and ability to sustainably manage those forest ecosystems.
Okay. When the arguments that have been going on online, there are people who've been saying it's been discriminative not to have people on wheelchairs. So the argument was for tarmacking.
Let me tell you. We have a 1 kilometer wheelchair accessible trail. And if someone is saying that, it's someone who doesn't know us. We did that almost 6-7 years ago in Sigiriya. And it's done on pavement around Sigiriya. And even created Sigiriya a nice parking lot that even it's paved. Others area was not paved because some people didn't want it paved, which is okay. But we officially opened it with the current member of parliament of Westlands on his wheelchair.
That's Tim Wanyonyi.
Tim Wanyonyi.
So that is not so the whole idea of tarmacking for that is not it.
No, I mean, you don't create forests in the forest. You don't do that. Because a road carries a lot of water. A road even 1 kilometer or even half a kilometer, when the rains come, it's a lot of water, and you drive that water with force into the trenches. You are degrading the soils, and you are rushing the water to nowhere. Let the water sit for a while in Karura before it disappears in Madare River and goes down to join Athi and so on. And if you come to Karura, I'll show you when the water comes in, it's red. When the water leaves Karura, it's a little cleaner than red. And that's what a real forest should look like.
The issue I've had with people, I actually saw a lot of it on Saturday, were people complaining because of the charges. So what is this going to impact in terms of numbers?
I think it's very negative. First of all, we want Karura Forest to be a place where anyone in Nairobi and its outskirts can go. We don't want to create a place of the privilege. Anybody can be able to come. In fact, we have established a site where you can come in and sit with your kids and have a meal that you prepared at home, that you brought home with you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
A picnic area. We have brought a place, we have also prepared a place where if you're a wealthy guy, you can come in, you can go in and have a steak or whatever and leave us some money. In fact, the restaurant is an income generating activity for the CFA directly. That money doesn't go to anywhere else. It goes directly to us because it's a check written by the people because we are not hoteliers.
Yeah.
The restaurateurs are the people, and it's done very well, And from that source alone, we give 4.5 million shillings every year to students from Huruma and Githogoro and Gashie bursaries. It's a bursary program that no one in Nairobi can do better than us.
Interesting.
And from one restaurant.
Wow.
But I'm receiving calls from the ministry saying, oh, why are you running a restaurant? How did it come? You have it? Who gave it to you? As if they don't have files to look back and see how things happened when they happened. See, people have become so petty in Kenya. So absolutely petty. Anything you do good and they think they can make money out of it, they are after it like greedy animals. Rather than collectively call us, sit with us, say, explain to us what you did here, explain to us what we did here, explain to us what you're doing here, so you are knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But when you say, oh, we have done an audit, how do you do an audit without telling the person you're auditing, I'm auditing you? How can I come here and tell you, hey, by the way, I have audited this studio, and I know the way you're functioning is that an audit? Would I be talking about an audit? No. An audit means I sat with you. I told you who I am and why am I doing this audit. Please produce your wallet here, produce your books here. Let me see how you earned this. That's how an audit is done.
Yeah.
We never saw an auditor. We never got a call, please produce a document. And yet they did an audit and came and presented an audit. Are those friends? No, I don't.
Now you seem to have issues. Let me ask, usually you have joint meetings every month. We are in
Yes.
September.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? And then if not, have you had a meeting since Friday and now?
No.
Because this has been going on. Or any form of communication?
Nobody has called us. This before coming here, let me take you back. There is a third entity that is also affected by this situation, because there's KFS and there is the CFA, the Friends of Karura CFA, that has a joint forest management plan between the two.
Yes.
But we have a third party. A third party is the Karura Forest Environmental Education Center. Karura Forest Environmental Education Center was established by Vivo Energy, who bought Shell BP. Shell BP, at that time they were Shell BP, had this sports club. But because of insecurity that had been caused over years, they were not able to use it as a sports club. People used to come there, get robbed, until people weren't going there anymore. So when we came in, we involved them in the cleanup and reorganizing and remanaging the forest and fencing So even their part, they fence as we fence the others. Yeah. And one of the few things we did to them is it said, if you turn it to us, to a trustee, and the trustees were identified as KFS, FKF, Vivo Energy, and a group called Oshwal Community Center, who came in giving us money to develop the clubhouse and sorry, now did I mention the fifth one? Did I say KFS?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and Greenbelt movement, sorry, because Wangari Maathai was one of the few people who really persuaded Shell BP to do this. And Shell BP accepted, and we signed off. And we brought in KFS just because we know that we want these kids to learn about forestry, and we'll have to take them into the forest.
Yeah.
So we turned that club completely into an education center. It has been doing very well. But just recently, audit, they have said, oh, KFIT should not be KFIT. It is government land, da-da-da-da-da. Now I'm wondering why are these people even telling us about KFIT? And KFIT is owned, the title is owned by Vivo Energy. So today, I went to see, together with my colleague from Vivo Energy and the other trustees, to try to see the conservator of forest. He never showed up, but we met some members of his staff and we expressed our concerns, and we hope something will be done quickly to not also punish children who are coming to learn in the forest.
Wow. There seems to be a lot that is going on.
There's a lot, and not necessary. You know, sometimes I go and sit back in the evening and say, why is everyone wanting us to run after wind? The reality is that these things can be solved by a 12-year-old who is well-schooled. So why are we pretending it's rocket science to figure out how to deal with people and make things work? You know? And some big man has to call us to tell us they have audited us. You know, why not do things openly? If you don't like me, tell me. Hey, gentlemen, you're a bit too ugly for me. And I'm okay. I will, you know. But Kenya needs to face reality, Kenyans, and say, you are on your own. If what we have done in 15 years at Karura cannot impress people, then God help us. Because you, who is trying very hard, you are on your own.
Okay, you know, I saw a video, the video when Wangari Maathai had gone and there was a team of young men with, I think, arrows
and whatever, wanting to kill him.
When she was fighting for this Karura...
Where was the forest department?
Not even that. My question would be, what was her dream?
Her dream is what we have done now. And I'm sure wherever she is, she's bursting and asking for blessings upon us. Because her dream was to save the forest. Can you imagine having a closed canopy forest in a city of 4.5 people, giving oxygen to our people? Yeah, and a place where it's accessible, and kids who have grown in the concrete jungle can walk into the forest and hear the birds sing and see the monkeys and feel that this is their space, because that's also important. This is not a place you go like a museum, and you know you are not a museum owner. Here is a forest you can call your forest, because you can be there constantly. And the price will not go. We were not going to increase the price. As long as what we are getting is enough to maintain the forest, we are not there to make business.
You know, I posted about it online, and someone questioned why then you increased the parking fee from 100 to 200.
Yeah, because a car is a more dangerous visitor than you. If people moved together, we need to move people to understanding an emitter of carbon is not a friend of the forest. Are we together?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have to accept, and you know, we are also to create space for a car. It's a space that two trees could be growing. So, I mean, we need to think in those terms. We want Kenyans to know that you can have joint rides when you're coming. You can share cars. You can do different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than, every time the forest is full, our parkings are full, even K-Fit field is full of cars. That's not a good show for a protected ecological area, people with sensitivity and conservation understanding in their brains. They would come other routes, you know what I mean? We love cycling.
Yeah.
We have a bicycle area there. You can come and rent a bicycle and ride. You can bring yours, hinge it there and go. Yeah, that's the health of humanity that we want to bring.
Okay. If Wangari Maathai was alive today and just seeing the drama that is going on, what do you think she would do?
I know her very well because I worked for her. I think she will just say to a person like me, continue, my hummingbird, do the little you can. And I'm sure that's the whispers she's giving me.
What can other Kenyans do? I mean, we have many people who use Karura, but they're not even part of the Friends of Karura.
I want them to listen to Wangari Maathai wherever she is. Do the little you can. Come out. Speak out. When we call for people to come and give testimony, come and give testimony. If you have ever visited Karura and enjoyed it, say it loud so that those with deaf ears can hear. Those who use wheelchairs can appreciate that someone has made a wheelchair circle in Karura that enables those people to actually interchange with nature before being taken to the homes. Every year, twice a year, we bring the elderly from Mji wa Huruma elderly home. Some of them on almost stretchers because they can't even sit properly. And they come and we take them around in a short circuit and we take them to K-Fit at the field and we give them food and they are then taken back. Those people, the people responsible for them is the county government. Surely the county government can also say, save Karura for these people. I believe that if we all recollected ourselves to what is good for this nation, we would save Karura, not just Karura Forest alone, but all other green spaces that we have. Thank you.
We've understood the role of Friends of Karura in conservation, but up to this moment, maybe out of curiosity, then what is the role of KFS?
Because I've tried to understand what they are doing, particularly now, and it's not conservation. But I can't speak for them. I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Whoa. So whose role is it to overall to do conservation?
Ask the ministry. Because I have not even heard the voice of the minister. The CS has said nothing. At least in Douale, he came, we met, we talked, we planted trees. Now we are at a crunch and we don't know who our CS or what her thinking is.
Have you tried reaching out to her?
Not me, by my chairman, but no success.
I mean, the president has been speaking big on tree planting and having, was it 10 billion trees? Do you think this is something that concerns him?
I think so. I think it concerns him. He talks all the time about 15 billion trees and conservation of our forests. So we want to hear his voice.
Okay. Wish you the very best.
Thank you.
And maybe your final words to Kenyans and also to KFS if you have something to tell them. at the end of the day, I think we all want a Karura that works for all.
Thank you. I think for me, my closing remarks to all Kenyans is to regain your hope. The fact that when this thing happened, there were many people within an hour who had made me get up of my bed at 70 years old and come out and head to Karura. And those 70 people, I will show you my phone, you know. There were people who are unconcerned. They are not managers of forests. They don't work in the forest, but they are just people who go to the forest. But they go there very early. And when they went and saw this, they felt it was untidy. And they called me. I want Kenyans to do the little thing they can. Make sure that you are sending a positive message to all people who are concerned about conservation of our forests, and give them a heads up and tell them they are doing good. If you cannot come yourself to the forest because of the cost that has now been increased, send a message. Say, I was a walker, but I cannot go now. If you fear that forest, we had so many scouts, 67 scouts, trained by British Army Training Unit in Nanyuki, pro bono. If those people are not there, for those who feel insecure, send a message. Say, I have been a walker, but now I fear for the security of the forest. If you are like me, a person who really want to replicate this to all the other 250 so forest stations, also speak up. As a CFA, speak up so that all together can sing one song. Conserve our forest, do not be selfish, don't turn our forest into commercial centers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor. It's been amazing, at least getting a breakdown from you and just learning. Yeah. And I think as Kenyans, generally, we have the mind of conservation.
I think so.
I believe so. We're on the right track.
Absolutely.
And there's hope, as you said.
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel that there's hope. My grandson is 3 years old. Will turn 4 in October. And he went to Karura on that Saturday. He didn't know about all that maneno. And on that Friday afternoon, and I had left the home and went to see a doctor. When I came back, the guy ran into my room and said, Guka, something is wrong at Karura. So I said, what? There is so much garbage at the gate. I realized what had happened because of that demonstration. Maybe people spilled things. But imagine a 3-year-old telling you that. I hope the 30-year-old and 60-year-old are also saying something is wrong at Karura.
I think that is a very good message from kids, because it says people see things when they happen.
People see things. Yeah. It's just that we don't talk as Kenyans.
And actually, people are talking.
Let them now talk, please. Don't keep quiet. Send a message and another one, and join groups and do things. And when we call for you to do something, please come out and support us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Karanja, for being on with us today. We appreciate and we wish you the very best.
Yes.
We want the best for Karura and for KFS. Please find a way that you can work together with FKF, because at the end of the day, conservation is ours. And as Professor Wangari Maathai always said, we will be the hummingbird in our big or small ways.
Yes.
And also for KFS, be the hummingbird that saves the forest. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.